so really this Quarantine Conversations is a special edition of the Daily Commute. We'll have the same values, the same mission, the same purpose as the Daily Commute, but all of that is going to look a little bit different in the midst of the coronavirus.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Commute Quarantine Conversations, talking about our journeys with Jesus in the midst of a pandemic. My name's Will.
My name is Adam.
And we're super excited to get this started. Real quick, we aren't actually quarantined, but all of society is kind of going through this quarantine light, if you will, this like social distancing thing. Everybody's working from home and all this stuff, which all of you probably already know, but in case you're listening to this later, maybe the situation has escalated by then, and setting the stage. So the Daily Commute podcast has been in the works for about 4 months or so. And it was just going to be called The Daily Commute, just simply The Daily Commute, which is a podcast to empower and encourage others on their daily journeys towards Jesus. But as the coronavirus stuff has been kind of ramping up and escalating, we realized that some of the topics that we were going to be talking about and the direction we were going with it was becoming less relevant with all of the stuff that was going on. And so we kind of had to kind of rework it a little bit, rethink what we were going to talk about, kind of rethink the format of our podcast. We had to kind of rethink a few things. And that's because we think there are more specific and relevant conversations to be had about following Jesus in the midst of a pandemic.
Yeah. And so really this Quarantine Conversations is a special edition of the Daily Commute. We'll have the same values, the same mission, the same purpose as the Daily Commute, but all of that is going to look a little bit different in the midst of the coronavirus. Mm-hmm. So,
and hopefully when this is all over, the Daily Commute, our original intention will be a thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Start with the special edition to ease people into the real thing. Yes. I guess
is that normally how that goes?
Yeah. Why not? So before we get a little bit deeper into the podcast and what this Quarantine Conversations is going to look like, we wanted you, the listener, to get to know us a little better. So, Will, could you just give a brief introduction of who you are, what the heck you do, and why we're talking about this stuff?
For sure. My name is Will. I'm a youth pastor at a church here in Columbus, Ohio, and I am married to my wife. Her name's Rachel. She's pretty cool. Which is actually how Adam and I know each other, because our wives have been friends since they were tiny human beings. Mm-hmm. And so when I started dating Rachel, I met Adam, and we didn't it wasn't really we're not really friends on purpose. It just kind of happened, and we realized, hey, this works. We like talking about stuff. So yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. So my name's Adam. I work in business here locally in Columbus, Ohio. I'm married as well, as Will pointed out. Sorry to spoil that one for you.
Yeah. No. A spoiler alert. To my wife Hannah, and that is how Will and I got connected. We just found out that when our wives hung out and we were there, we sort of naturally gravitated towards one another and talked about a lot of stuff. So we thought, why not talk about more stuff in a more focused format? So
yeah, let's just start recording it.
Yeah, exactly. So Will, how long would you say, just to give the listener some background, how long have you been following Jesus?
Yeah, I've been following Jesus since I was 9 years old. So just quick run through. I was raised in a Christian home, super involved in the church. So baptism was kind of a no-brainer for me. And since then, it's been all downhill. But really, the journey with Jesus has been more difficult since, because I was 9. But anyway, we'll get into that another time.
Yeah. Myself, I've been following Jesus since I would say really intentionally since college. Grew up in a Christian home, but I think my dedicated following of Jesus, I think, began around when I was in college. So just to get a little bit more background into that walk for you, Will, what's one word that you would use to describe your journey with Jesus so far?
I don't know if I could boil it down to one word. I would say the probably biggest one is grace. Just because one of the biggest game changer for me and my journey with Jesus is learning more and understanding more. This is Millie, everyone. She's our first guest on our podcast.
She's adorable.
She's wonderful. Say hi, Millie. Sometimes she talks, but she's maybe a little shy. What was I saying? So grace has been a big game changer in learning and growing in my knowledge of how God feels about me. And that has been a super game changer for me in the past, just like the past 3 years. So.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, for me.
Yeah, what about you?
I would say the biggest defining word for my journey so far has been victory. I think God has done some incredible things in my life, and I think things that truly only have happened because of His presence. So that is the word I would use to distill my relationship with Him and my journey so far. But that's a little bit more about us. Will, do you want to talk more about the podcast?
So
why
the
we're
daily
called
commute.
The Daily Commute.
Yeah. So a commute is when you travel from one place to another on a regular basis. So typically we talk about a commute being from home to school or to work and back. And as followers of Jesus, we have to daily choose if we're going to continue on this journey towards being more like Him. So it's a daily choice to go from living for ourselves to living for Him. It's this daily commute from point A to point B. And so if you're a follower of Jesus, you are on a daily commute. And so we're here to empower and encourage you on your daily commute. And we are on these daily commutes as well. And so that's why we call ourselves that.
Yeah, exactly. So really what this is going to look like is Will and I hopping on to FaceTime, basically, and talking about all the challenges and opportunities that we are facing, have been facing while in this quote unquote quarantine situation at home, and the ways that we're finding, how we're finding ways to face those issues through our faith. What systems are we putting in place? What rhythms are we living out? That sort of thing. It's going to be real conversation, sharing struggles and stories and vulnerable experiences, not only in this time, but things that might come up in conversation around it. We hopefully will be interviewing some folks as well who maybe know a bit more about this situation than we do. And really the whole idea is we want to show that we're all in this quarantine situation together. And we can learn from each other's experiences and others' experiences to really thrive in this time as well. We don't have to be the subject to the fear of the time. So this, as the name might suggest, this is not a daily podcast.
We still have to go to work.
We still have to go to work here in this same chair. But we hope to release frequently, but it's not going to be a daily podcast. So sorry to get your hopes up if you were hoping to see our faces every day, but
right.
Yeah.
Well, I am excited. We've been working on this in a little bit of a different way for a long time, but I'm excited to come out with something. I'm excited to be empowering each other and other people to rise to the challenge of following Jesus in the midst of a time like this. And so I'm excited to acknowledge some of the fears, some of the struggles, and some of the things we really should maybe be doing as followers of Jesus. So thank you guys for listening or watching, whatever you're doing, and we'll see you next time. Adam, just real quick, do you have any fatherly advice to leave with our listeners before we go?
Yeah, of course. Wash your hands, clearly. Key
Well
fatherly advice. No matter
Elegant.
who you're with, always wash your hands.
Always wash your hands. Always wash your hands. All right, beautiful.
All right.
All right. We'll see you next time.
All right. See ya.